Captain Zed and the Z-Zone is a British-American animated series created by Tony Collingwood and produced by DIC Animation. It originally aired in 1991 and was 26 episodes long, made of two 13-episode seasons. Captain Z is an agent of the Dream Patrol, part of the Dream Base, an organization that monitors dreams when they are asleep at night and makes sure that nightmares do not appear. Piloting a dream ship, Captain Z is assisted with his co-pilot PJ and pet cat Spring. The Dream Base is run by sheep, led by the commander. Most of its architecture, elements, and machine designs are sleep or bed themed. Captain Z seems to be annoyed by a pretentious and ambitious rival, Captain Flannel. The main villains are Snort and Mutter, two shape-shifting monsters who want to take over the Dream Base and send nightmares to children's minds. The series has been aired in many countries over the years, especially Europe. However, it has never been released on DVD and only a few episodes have been sold on VHS tapes. Some of them are quite rare. They can easily be found for sale on eBay and Amazon. The available VHS tapes contain the episodes Follow the Leader, Monster Factor, Nasty Norman, Catnapped, Making the Grades, Curtain Call, Revenge of the Killer Bunnies? What? And Finishing School. 2 episodes of the cartoon, its original English dub, have been uploaded online by Gilby 1385 from the first aforementioned VHS tape. A few episodes dubbed in German and Polish have also been uploaded online. Like most movies that existed in the 80s and 90s, such as Rambo and Men in Black and Ghostbusters, Jurassic Park was also going to be made into a cartoon. If you don't know, it's a 1993 blockbuster film that was turned into a bunch of sequels, including Jurassic World, directed by Steven Spielberg, the man who brought E.T. and Ready Player One. The movie became popular due to the inventive concept and the CGI dinosaurs. In a decade, which I already mentioned, where most movies were getting their own TV show, it would seem natural Jurassic Park would have its own series because it's popular. Whilst plans were drawn out at the time, it never was made into a cartoon. Sometime during the 90s, storyboard and comics artist Will Muignot, who worked on shows like G.I. Joe, Captain Planet, and Batman the Animated Series, the 90s one, made a phone call to William Stout about the creation of the series. According to Stout, the show was not to be made for children, it was going to be made as for adults or teenagers, as the original movie is rated PG-13. Fun fact, Steven Spielberg is the guy who is the reason why PG-13 was created, because 2 of his films, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Gremlins, were so controversial. Ironically, they were rated PG in the end, but they're the reason why we have a PG-13 rating. Thank goodness. Because, well, how would Mean Girls ever be released in films like that? Because we need the PG-13 rating, guys! A full trailer was made into the series to test out the look and style of the show, which was awaiting Spielberg's approval. Although they sent the trailer, Spielberg didn't bother to even view it, and the show had been canceled due to the fact he was tired with all the commercialism and merchandising the movie made on its own. Although there's no physical footage of any kind online, Stout claims to have a copy of the trailer in his possession, just a matter of choice whether he decides to release it or not. In August of 2015, Stout shared multiple concept art for the series. It revealed features about the series. One is that many characters from the movie would be present in the show. There's also multiple sketches of dinosaurs in certain scenarios, such as one being hand-fed with a hand puppet. These pictures can be found both on its blog page and various other websites. Was and Bot is a 3D animated children's series made by Aeroscope, which became notorious for being a rip-off of VeggieTales. It aired on Disney Channel Arabia and MBC3 and went to win 7 awards. Now, much information is known about the series, though what is known is that 26 13-minute long episodes of the series were produced, but as of now only 8 have been available on the internet, and due to it being produced in the Middle East, and as a majority of Lost Media hunters, are from English-speaking countries, it might be hard to find any pieces of Lost Media unless the series gets somehow released on DVD or distributed into our continent. The Weasel Patrol was an unsold pilot pitched to Nickelodeon in 1989, similar to Big B's Quintet. The Weasel Patrol was created by Ken Macklin and Lela Dowling for Mark Zander Productions, based on a comic book of the same name. The Weasel Patrol were 7 weasels who fought crime. They were lousy crime fighters, despite their claims to be good ones, and they only ever won due to random circumstances. The original comic series was adult-oriented, however, and each story contained an adult element that would be inappropriate for the target audience of Nickelodeon, which are kids and preteens. To try to make the show family-friendly, the plot of the pilot was cobbled together from several issues. The story involved the Weasel Patrol trying to keep top-secret hot chili peppers from a duo of smugglers. The peppers were intended to be used for rocket fuel, and an alien creature was also involved. Both the Weasel Patrol and the smugglers were incompetent, and the Weasel Patrol only won accidentally and in the most confusing way possible. The test audience reception was, of course, very negative. One 9-year-old boy said he'd rather watch a blank TV screen. The comics were funny, but the pilot was an adaptation thrown together from a handful of unrelated stories. It was convoluted and confusing. An entirely new story would probably be a better idea. 7 weasels, 2 smugglers, and an alien creature were way too many characters to introduce in a 5-minute pilot. The weasels, while funny in the comics, lacked developed personalities, and some of them did not even have their names given. The Weasel Patrol pilot was never shown to anyone outside those involved in the production and the test audiences, nor has it been shared by its creator since, save for a presentation given by Linda Semensky in 1995, which I mentioned when I talking about the other pilot, where she showed the 5 pilots as long as 4 others to the historians and animation professors. It was created by these guys and directed by Norton Virgin. Now, technically, I'm breaking a rule on this list by including something that is actually a series of not only a cartoon, but also a comic strip, video games, and Max making an appearance in Poker Night at the Inventory 1, so yeah, I'm breaking a rule for this entry, but whatever, I must talk about this. So Sam and Max became a comic strip by Steve Purcell that, of course, focused on the freelance police officer Sam, who wore clothes, and Max, who didn't for some reason. In 1992, being an employee at LucasArts at the time, Purcell approached LucasArts to develop his comic strip into an adventure game, with him as one of the lead designers. 1 year later, Sam and Max Hit the Road was released to critical and financial acclaim. Not to be confused with the game company. For 9 years, the video game series lay dormant, though Purcell continued the comic strip for another 3 years, and a critically acclaimed TV series was produced at the time. On August 27th, 2002, fans' waiting seemed to pay off as LucasArts announced a sequel to Hit the Road titled Freelance Police for some reason. That's the name of the show. Was being produced alongside the Full Throttle sequel Hell on Wheels, which also ended up being canceled. Over the course of its development, LucasArts gave the adventure game in a declining adventure game market. An E3 2003 trailer confirmed that Sam and Max's original voice actors, Bill Farmer, the voice of Goofy, and Nick Jameson, who voiced Palpatine in Star Wars The Clone Wars, were set to reprise their roles. Very little is known about the game's plot, though an interview with game director Michael Stebel described the plot as really 6 stories loosely held together by a thrilling Uber plot. Flint paper! A character who cameoed in Hit the Road was also confirmed to return alongside the titular character. However, on March 3rd, 2004, less than 2 months after Stemmel had given the aforementioned interview, I'm tearing up now, LucasArts announced that Freelance Police had been canceled, citing the falling sales of adventure games as the culprit. Many game journalists, as well as many LucasArts employees, including Purcell, were disappointed by this turn of events. As a result of the cancellation, the game would end up being the last adventure game LucasArts would develop before closing its doors on the adventure game industries. In 2005, LucasArts' ownership of the Sam & Max franchise would expire like milk, allowing creator Steve Purcell to take his franchise to Telltale Games, made up of former LucasArts employees, ironically number two-ness. The end result was an episodic game series released in 2006 called Sam & Max Save the World, which would last 6 episodes and spawn 2 sequel seasons, Beyond Time and Space and The Devil's Playhouse. Very little of Freelance Police was carried over into these games. However, as Telltale was wary about using similar design patterns, the design of things carried over from Freelance Police seemed to be the 6 stories loosely strung together to form an uber plot, and what appeared to be the character basis for Hugh Bliss and Sybil Pandemic, the former which seems to appear in early screenshots, the latter appearing in an early animation test, 1 of 4 found on YouTube. As for Freelance Police itself, the chance of it getting an official release will probably not happen. It's possible enough that the game was completed to warrant a release, seeing as the game was cancelled right around the time that it was supposed to be released. That and the fact that it was quite a selection of gameplay screenshots and animation tests has since been made available online. Even if an official release never occurs, it is possible the game could be leaked as a ROM online. For now, this game remains one of many unreleased games people are still clamoring to see to this day, because the fan base is huge for Sam & Max, apparently.